Well, good morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Startup Funding Event 2018 Helsinki edition. It's very nice to see you all here, and I'm very excited for several reasons for this event. Because for the past times we've organized this in Holland, both in Rotterdam and Amsterdam, but we finally have it here in Helsinki, in the beautiful and sunny Helsinki. Just to go through a few things in the beginning, there's some breakfast served outside the door until 10 o'clock, so feel free to fill up your plates, but please make sure to watch our beautiful camera crew here who are recording for this outside world. There's coffee and tea, juice on the table, bathrooms on the very left-hand side of the hallway, and most importantly, everybody take up your phone. Have you downloaded the Startup Funding Event app already? If you haven't, please do, because you will get to download more information about the startups, about the schedule, and about the other participants of the event. But first, I'd like to give a very special thank you for the Dutch government, who has been very helpful in organizing and making this event happen, bringing all these excited participants, startups, and innovations and ideas to come through. But without further ado, I'd like to welcome our three panelists to the stage. Katja from Startup Delta, Startup Catapult, and Ruud from Rockstart. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
So, thank you for joining me here at the front. We share this excitement here. We're going to discuss more about creating impact, why to create it, and how to get other people involved and excited with us, because we need the other people in order to make that change. But without further ado, we'll give you a voice. Hello, hello. Here we are. Well, I would like to start with you. Could you give a short introduction about yourself and what has been the most exciting thing about SLUSH this week?
Okay, so shortly my background. So I have been a serial entrepreneur for 19 years. I have founded 6 companies, sold 2 of those, and led teams in San Francisco, New York, London, and here in Finland. That's shortly my background. And regarding SLUSH, that is quite amazing that we have that event nowadays here. And I remember when SLUSH started, there were only maybe that amount of people there, and few chairs and no tables, and that was quite small event. But then some years ago it started to grow really rapidly. But I think that the most important thing regarding SLUSH and the whole ecosystem is that the learning, how to learn from each other and challenge ourselves and build something amazing.
Thank you.
SLUSH is also one example of it.
Thank you. And Katja, could you go next?
Yeah, sure. Good morning, everyone. So I'm Katja Berkat, and I'm the Director for International at Startup Delta, and my background is business advisory and global connectivity and building startup ecosystems. And I have some background in sort of building an innovation ecosystem in the Netherlands, in the city of Rotterdam, which was based out of an American model, Venture Cafe. That's where we first met the team here at Lightning Speed Ventures as well. And we've stayed connected at other global tech events. And what we do is, first off, we connect our Dutch innovation ecosystem because there are many very interesting pockets of innovation throughout the country, not just Amsterdam. Typically, people start looking at the capital city, and for us, from the starting point, it's always been about connecting innovators in various regions and cities and different types of innovation pockets. So academia, investors, startups. Bring together the different change makers.
Absolutely.
So that's a starting point. And then for my program, it's connecting those innovators to global opportunities. So setting startups up for impact at tech events like SLUSH. So this is one good example. There are 6 events that we do globally. So we've had 850 companies travel with us to various innovation regions throughout the world. And I can compare SLUSH, I guess, to those other events, and it really lives up to the expectations.
Thank you. I'm really much
an
looking
amazing
forward to the
event.
conversation.
You know, the startups and the investors here, the density in the network, and the
Yes.
quality is fantastic.
Thank you, Katja. And last but not least, Rune.
Yeah, good morning everyone. My name is Rune Tal. Originally from Denmark, Copenhagen, moved to Amsterdam 7 years ago to set up Rockstart with two Dutch guys. We invest very early stage startups, so mostly support and a little bit of capital. We invested in 148 companies until today. They raised around 65 million euros, accumulated the value of those companies around 350 million euros, and they created around 700 jobs. What else to say? You know, I think I want to talk about SLUSH maybe. I think there's something very valuable about the Finnish culture. I found out yesterday. I went to one of the networking events and it was in a sauna. And I found that like an incredible opportunity to connect with people. So more creative ways to actually have meaningful connections with people, I think we need. I think we need more of these kind of events. It's what we're here for, to meet new people. And I think SLUSH and this kind of event, as sitting in a sauna and randomly meeting people, it's a really good setup.
Thank you, Rune.
Yeah.
When we talk about creating an impact, Pavel, you've been leading various teams across the globe, and you started your own company at a very young age. What would you tell from your own experience that where should startups start or companies start creating impact? From your own experience,
Yeah, I think there's two key things. The first is that you have a vision where you want to go. It's like a map. So you want to go there, and it's some kind of it's a thing that you can share to your teammates, but also when you try to get more people involved somehow, that you can say, hey, let's go there, and then people who want to go there as well can join somehow and can support you. But then if we really think about that something happened, I think that the processes and methods, how you do your daily job, that's the key thing. And,
right.
and when our company analyzes nowadays all the time, every day, more than 100,000 growth companies internationally, by utilizing AI, we see those companies who really jump up. They do something right, and they have those methods how to execute and grow things and impact really strongly. So that's I think that you need to have those two things so that you can really do something amazing.
Thank you, Pavel. Next to you, Katja, you've been working with economic development and business advisory roles for quite long. We heard some very practical things, and maybe on a very micro level, but what do companies need from their environment, and on a bigger scale, what do they need from their environment where they operate in order to make all this happen, where to focus what they do best?
Yeah, so what we're seeing obviously is the network effect, and I guess once you start talking about what your strategy and vision is, and you start engaging with people, then the community becomes really relevant as well. And I was reading through the Atomico report yesterday, State of Tech in Europe. Some of that drills down to where can you meet up with other innovators, right? And how do you meet with people that can advise you, be a partner, be a potential investor now or in the future. So I think the network effect of sort of not being isolated as an entrepreneur and sort of founder-to-founder networks are really relevant. And then obviously I think throughout Europe you're seeing a lot of public support, a lot of economic development support and government stepping in and trying to play a role there, but they're not the innovators, they're the enablers, right? So
Absolutely.
I think it's a mix of those things. And once you start setting up for growth, then choose wisely which networks are most relevant, but don't be too narrow about it, because we were just talking about this as well. There is so much cross-pollination between a large corporation potentially looking for an innovation that a startup is developing, so you want to build that relationship as well. So it's all about the community aspect, and then that's where you find the talent, introductions, and I've seen the power of communities all over again every time. And
Of the
again.
community. Yes. Thank you for sharing that with us. And Rune, when we started talking about the very practical things, you've been doing a lot of different things with startups, with Rockstar in Amsterdam. What is the first thing that you start the conversation with the startups when you sit down on the same table? Where do you start? What are the most important things to kind of get on that map?
What we look at, is that the way to think of? Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's going to be a generic answer, right? But obviously it's about people, especially at the stage that we would invest. So we look at ourselves as the additional co-founder to the team that done it before, so you don't have to make like the rookie mistakes that you would make. There's, starting a company, most things is sort of 50-50 whether you make the right decision, yes, no. But there's a couple of things where you really need to think twice before you make those choices. Some of it could be onboarding investors into your company. That is a lifelong engagement. So you better make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons and you're getting the right kind of people on board. So it's always a people education. Trying to get them up to speed as fast as possible. Make sure they don't make these rookie mistakes.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yep.
Now that we discussed about how startups and companies should get started on creating impact, I think we should look on why should we create that impact, and what is the additional value that comes there, and why should company kind of invest their assets and funds to create an impact to either a local community or globally. Could you Katja start?
So why a company should make an impact?
Yes, why should they focus on creating an impact? Because creating impact requires a lot of assets and plans from a company. So either locally or globally, why should they get started, and why to create an impact?
Like at a societal level as well, like
Exactly.
Tech for good and those types of things.
Yes.
I think we should all care, right? It's our planet. So, but it's just that if you look at startups and the model that they have to innovate, they can tackle challenges that are out there so much faster than any of the existing larger corporations in most situations. So I think there's a real opportunity there to make that impact through the models that they have to scale up their ideas and scale up the technologies that they develop. I think that's a real opportunity, and we're seeing so many amazing ideas come out of tech communities and tech startups that are making a global impact. For instance, one of the showcases that we have here at SLUSH is the ocean cleanup project with Boyan Slut. A young guy coming out of a technical university in the Netherlands wants to clean up the oceans. He has a big vision, right? And he starts to develop that vision in the university, but then you need global partners, so he starts working with Salesforce. Mark Benioff is a supporter, and then big corporates in the Netherlands step on board. I think those types of visions and executing on them are very powerful, and we need more of those, because plenty of global challenges to be tackled.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, and I would like to add that if you check it out, what is going on there in startup field, there are more and more companies who really want to solve those big, real problems, not those fancy wannabe type of things. I don't say that those are some kind of bad things, those wannabe type of things, but there's more and more companies who have really big passion to solve those real big problems. That's great, of course, and it's great that investors see the opportunity, even though they think about money only, but that's fine. If the goal is same to save the planet, let's do it, and as money as needed.
Very true, very true.
Yeah, maybe some additional introduction to Rockstar to sort of frame the conversation here. We decided to go with a couple of domains around 4 years ago. So we set out to do agri-food, energy, and health. And it's basically looking at the trends that come, right? So 10 billion people in 2050 is a massive challenge for the current setup that we have. And the reason being that we think, well, first of all, starting a company, regardless in what domain you're going to do it in, is difficult. It doesn't really matter. Like, entrepreneurs have a tendency of thinking when something's coming up is very hip, like blockchain. Everyone's fucking like running after blockchain, right? It's going to be as difficult, or maybe even more difficult, to start a company in something that's a hype at a current situation, instead of looking at what are the real challenges that we're facing and try to solve some of those. Because if everyone's running after blockchain, I mean, like, you're going to be competing with like 10,000 others. And I think there's so many challenges that we can solve. If you look at agri-food, this is a space I'm very excited about. The opportunities there, like 30% of all food is lost before it reaches the consumer, right? Like, look at that as a challenge. Like, try to figure out how we can optimize the processes between production and consumer. Like, I don't understand why no more entrepreneurs are looking at that space. I think it's crazy. Like, that's where you see you can actually make money on a real problem. So yeah, we decided to set out to build the #1 ecosystem within these different areas, because we see the challenges that are coming need to be solved, and there need to be initiated a lot more projects. And the take on it is, we're not worrying about whether it's an entrepreneur or corporate who wants to do something. We want to be the catalyst to actually make it happen. So yeah.
Thank you very much.
Impact is important.
Yes, and if I look from from our generation's perspective, and I hear the discussions with my friends who are just graduated and moving towards their first actual jobs, a lot of them are very concerned about getting to work for a company that actually creates a meaning. That you wake up in the morning, you create a meaning, because a lot of them have actually agreed to take a pay cut if they just to get to do something very meaningful. And I think that's one of the reasons why working for startups, and especially meaningful startups, is such a popular thing and important thing for especially younger generations as well. But I'd like to thank our panelists, give you a warm welcome and for this valuable conversation. But I don't want to take the time from our very brave startups who are going to tell about their dreams here and how they're going to create impact. So I would like to give a big applause to our panelists. Thank you, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh. Thank you. Now, as mentioned, we are going to have our first brave startup. We are going to have 2-minute pitching and 3-minute questioning afterwards. And don't worry if you don't get your questions right after the startups. We'll have plenty of time for networking afterwards, so we'll get to continue that conversation right after. Our first startup comes from Sobolt, a high-tech specialized company for automation and artificial intelligence. Give it up to Sobolt. Yes.
Hi guys, my name is Jeroen. I'm from Sobolt. Thank you for having us here. I'm what you would like to call a serial entrepreneur. And in 2016 it was, well, time for something new. And I started Sobolt together with Danny, a physicist from Leiden. And we thought it was a good idea for 2 reasons. One, purpose. I really would start fighting climate change. And 2, the opportunities in machine learning and AI. So there were new opportunities by using Earth observation data, so satellite data, aerial photography, in analyzing those images and see new things on Earth. So object detection is our core capability. And today we still think it's a good idea. And we have 12 people now. We did 10 projects the last year. And we have 2 market solutions. One is called Solar Search, so solar asset management. It's for DSOs, so network operators. They're responsible for the net, for your energy. And they really want to know where the solar panels are to strengthen the net in the energy transition. But also for municipalities, cities, it's relevant because of city planning. and supporting the energy transition. The second solution we have is in green, so forest, trees, green rooftops. And we're executing this in multiple cities in Europe nowadays. And today we're looking for two things. Well, of course, we're looking for clients, but I don't think you're one of them. Two things. One is a corporate with an asset issue. So if you want to be more effective or more efficient using AI, perhaps we can jump in together. We don't have a lot of domain knowledge, but we can apply AI. And second, we're looking for 2 million the coming year, so don't rush. You can contact me later. For our next phase, we want to grow to 25 people the coming year, and we go to 50 to 100 clients.
Thank you, Sobot.
You mentioned that you're looking for a partner which has assets. What's the typical problem they need to have which you can solve with AI?
If they're burning a lot of man hours, that's the main thing. A lot of GIS people are looking at images, or people in Turkey or the Philippines are clicking on it all day, and we're automating it. So automated object detection, that's what we do. We're currently doing a project together with BAM, a large construction firm in the Netherlands, at Schiphol Airport, to monitor the assets more efficiently and monitoring through time, so change detection. So trees, bridges, etc.
First, don't underestimate that there are clients present.
Yeah, of course.
Never addressed it a lot yet. We are working, for example, with BAM and Schiphol, etc. So I think I can connect you also already did. I would like to refer also what Pavel mentioned is, do you have a method for conversion? It's not only getting insight of where rooftops are available for solar panels, but do you also have a method that you convert it into action, into results?
Yeah, actionable planning. I think that's what you're talking about. For instance, the city of Rotterdam hired us. 2 weeks ago, we presented the green rooftop monitoring in the Barcelona. Smart, you were there. Thanks. And it's the first city, so we're the first company who actually did this. And I think we did the assessment now, but it's also about monitoring in the future, seeing trends, making benchmarks, and come to real action. For instance, Rotterdam really is planning all the rooftops in the city, and I think all major cities will do this. Use it for solar, for green, for terraces, for sports, for delivery of packages by drones, etc. So cities are really planning rooftops more accurately in the coming years. Yeah.
Yep.
So actionable data, that's what we're doing.
We have time for one more question.
The service you're offering for the clients, is it more of an ongoing one, or is it always a single case?
Well, we have to start with a single assessment, but all of our clients are going to monitoring now. Of course, we give them an attractive discount, but yeah, it's about monitoring. Yeah. So it's kind of tough now, but they are staying, so that's interesting. It's an annual base income.
Thank you very much. Our next startup is Panna Training, who are going to tell us a little bit more how to evaluate training.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lauri Paloheimo, and I'm here representing Panna Training. So I think no one is going to argue with me against the fact that the ways we are working right now are changing quite drastically because of the disruption. And companies who want to stay on the top of the game need to become adaptable learning companies. The question is how to do that, because basically the situation with many companies is that learning is like a black hole. You invest lots of money into it, you throw in some e-learning, some seasonal gurus who have motivational speeches and stuff like that, but you don't know what comes out of it and when. You don't know the impact of the processes. and we would like to change that. We are a team of a coach, a trainer, and an organizational psychologist who are building a product which basically collects data from the company's employees via a chatbot which understands how do certain training and education processes impact the performance, and also collect insights from the companies which we analyze and provide to them so they can improve their learning. Our dream is to enable the evolution of corporate education, because when we get to the stage of having enough data, we could open up an open platform which with AI could basically show the way for the companies what kind of a learning does their company need in order to succeed. Right now we are in a quite good stage of a growth, and we are looking for a seed investment between 50 to 100k, preferably from a person or a company who has good connections and understanding of the L&D industry and would want to change the learning for the better and the ways we work for the better. Thank you. Questions?
So, after working like plus 40 hackathons, and also with the companies, so my biggest, I think, the focus is the companies are not able to learn before they started access to be failing during the process. So how do you do that? Because my way how I see it, they are not only wasting their money, they're going out of the fucking business because they have no idea how fast the tech proving themselves in startups. And in that speed train, they are very soon out. So how do you talk with the companies to even understand what's the core problem about learning?
That's a very good question, and it depends a lot of the company, of course. And the ones we are working currently are the ones who have in their strategy that they would want to improve their learning culture, and they are willing to invest into it. So basically, the process, what we do is that we have the system which basically is able to listen to people and their needs when it comes to the learning. Because in companies, we think the big problem is that you don't understand where are the people coming from, how are they reacting to certain things in their learning culture affecting in the company. And of course, you can resolve that with having an HR who has the patience of Mother Teresa, who doesn't have to sleep and has the intelligence of Sherlock Holmes, who can connect the dots on a weekly basis to know where they are going with their current learning and development. And failing is a big part of it, for sure, but you have to understand how the people are failing, how they are reacting to the failing, and how to move forward from that. Does it answer to your question?
Yeah.
A bit over it.
Yeah. It's kind of, but still, I think the biggest and the most valuable things is to accept people to be failing and learning that way. Because this is the only key value I have seen last 3 years, and all what's coming out it's pure cold.
Yeah,
but I wish luck for you. You startup and
Thank you.
process.
Any more questions?
From this side of the room, or yes?
Now, how are you setting up the company for growth? Because you're working with a team of trainers as well. How do you see the business scale in the future? Is that on the team or on the platform? What are your growth models?
So basically, we do not work with the trainers directly. We do that via the system itself. So basically, our major asset is the organizational psychology at this stage, where we are basically able to connect the dots between what we see people saying about how they are learning and what they would need to learn better. And also, we are able to develop the tech and the system which is able to do that, and we kind of take some distance from the trainers, both internal and external, because we want to pursue transparency and just see what people say about them and think and what we think that what they need. And the more data we get, and the better our algorithms will become, the more insights we are able to generate from that data, hopefully even cross-industrially.
Thank you, Panna Training.
Thank you.
The next startup is going to bring cooling technology and cooling equipment to very extreme places and very remote places, but I'll let you tell more.
Did you know that 20% of all food is lost due to bad cooling? Did you know that we yearly lose 137 million vaccines due to bad cooling? Why is that? Standard fridges cannot cope with power outages. No power, no cooling. My name is Maarten Houten, I'm founder of Coolfinity, and we have a fridge that only needs 6 hours of power for 24 hours of cooling under very harsh tropical conditions to keep food, medication, and dairy cold. We have unique benefits. We're the only fridge that keep on cooling down under power outages. We have 48 hours holdover time, and we have freeze protection. We're also the greenest technology. We have the cleanest battery, only using water. We are very energy efficient, and in 2019 we'll have a solar version. We have great traction. We've sold 200 fridges to Heineken and Roche Pharma. Our business model is simple. We sell to these large clients, they import, distribute, and install them. I've been working in sustainable design since 1992, and I believe the only way forward is commercial success with sustainable solutions. And on those foundations we have built our company. My company has a proven track record in B2B sales, B2B fridge manufacturing, and sustainable design. At the moment we're looking for 500,000 euros to invest in growing our company and to protect our IP. We're looking for investors that want to grow internationally and make an impact. Coolfinity will save lives and preserve food with a very cool product. Thank you.
Yes.
Quick question. What's your model? Your model is to sell fridges in the
Yes.
not that wood. The current people who make fridges, they can do this as well, right? But why do you, as an external party, have the right mind to innovate in this area?
Well, power outages in 70 countries in the world and tropical region has been a problem for 40 years at least.
Yeah.
There have been many attempts to tackle this. All of them have failed due to either too expensive, too complex breakdown. And we started actually from the people from Nigeria coming to my office said we need a fridge that can run on 6 hours of power. So what I did, I collected the brightest minds in the world and we tackled it from a completely different way. Because fridge industry is very traditional, like the building. They do today what they did yesterday, they do tomorrow what they do. Very unpolitically correct. They build boxes and they try to replicate as much as possible. So we were the first to tackle this, and we built on a bright project that was 3 years running, trying to do this. So we made actually 2.0 from our fridge. And we think, yeah, with 2 patents, I think it's a terrific product.
So if I would approach this and I would be AEG, which is a manufacturer of fridges, and I would say, hey, these guys are actually quite smart. They put a battery or any fine or energy source within this fridge. Chances are really substantial that they say, well, engineers, make us a solution as well. And they might have the bigger scale. So I find it a bit of a risk that there are so much big players already in this field which could kind of have the same solution in the end.
I don't share your concern. The market is like, I think, 2 million fridges a year. For us, a sizable business would be like 50,000. We would bet an extreme amount of money. So there's room, for now, there's room for everybody. And at the moment, we're going faster than anybody else. So we're ready. And we have very big suppliers. If I get an order for 20,000 fridges, I can give them to you in 6 months. No problem.
Can you apply your battery technology also for other purposes then, besides cooling some great foods?
Other technologies like?
Your battery, can you apply it on other solutions? Like we have this net congestion things.
Yes, yes. I've talked to Fortum just now. They're very much interested into using this technology for peak shaving of electricity. And I've also talked to the Dutch authorities. They're doing a pilot with us. Yes, but in 2 minutes I can't put that in. Sorry.
Yes, I help you.
Thank you very much. Our next startup has a console for video and photo editing. So let's welcome Loopdek.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Mikko Kesti. I am the CEO and founder of Loopdek. We believe that by challenging the current status quo of using keyboard and mouse when editing pictures and video, we could create a unique solution to tackle very many problems in image editing. That we could also create a user interface, extended user interface, to let people to get the best out of their software and to focus on what matters the most, your craft. We have been able to inspire more than 25,000 creative people all around the world in less than 1.5 years. At our first operational year, our revenue was 1.9 million euros. This year we will reach 3 million euros. Our product reviews have been astonishing. The feedback from the market has been great, and that has inspired us to create new products to new industries. Loopdek consists of 17 people. We represent 7 different nationalities here in Helsinki, Finland. Our management team has several years of skills from marketing, R&D, and sales from senior level. Some of us has been working in companies such as Nokia, Huawei, Broadcom, and so forth. We are here today looking for funding and to conquer new industries outside video and photo. Thank you very much. Yes, please.
Yeah, I see you brought something. Maybe you can tell a little bit about what we see here.
So this is Loopdek. It's a hardware controller that you can control your current software if you are using like Adobe Lightroom. So it has dials and knobs in it. It has very intuitive design. It's very easy to start using it. And it fasters your editing, so it's much faster. You can reduce your editing time by even 25%. But it lets you to be more creative and to focus on what matters. That is your craft, your picture or video, what you're doing.
You mentioned other verticals, or that you would like to go there. What does it mean? What could be those other verticals?
Almost anything that has a problem with the user interface, that it's not intuitive to use. So we will start looking at audio world and also like AutoCAD, industrial designs, and so forth.
You did mention Final Cut. What is that?
Oh, there's a lot of softwares out there. So Final Cut is only one of them.
Can you use your system on?
Not yet. Soon, yes. We are in talks with Apple, HP, Adobe.
Is that a licensing issue?
No, because we are partnershiping with them.
I can see you have a lot of notes. Do you have any plans of including in pen sort of?
We've been thinking that, but more important for us is to work with Wacom, because Wacom is a market leader in the tablet technology, and that we believe that there's a synergy between two of us, and we are not competing at all.
Thank you very much. And our last brave startup comes and will tell us more about sustainable and shared urban travel. Welcome, Felix.
Welcome everybody, my name is Quinten and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Felix. As you might know, all large cities face many mobility issues. You can think about air pollution, congestion, road safety, and an increasing pressure on public space. We solve this by offering shared electric scooter rides for 30 cents a minute, available through an intuitive app. Well, you might ask how it works. It's really simple. You just register an account, download the app, and then you can find the nearest scooter on the app, which is in general 2 minutes walking distance. You can activate the app by your phone, make your ride from A to B, and then you can shut the scooter off with your cell phone. And that's it. It's really as easy as that. And therefore we believe that Felix is one of the most convenient and efficient, sustainable and fun rides around town. You can bypass traffic, you can park anywhere, and there is no need to charge because we will do that for you. And of course it's also very sustainable, as we use zero emission scooters with sustainable wind energy. We reduce congestion because we can take people actually out of the cars and onto the electric scooters, and of course we reduce the pressure on public space as we can people around town with less vehicles because we share vehicles. So far we saved about 100 tons of CO2 emissions with 450 electric scooters we are currently live. But more importantly, 2018 was the year that we prepared for the international rollout. An important part of that was forming a very strong management team with over 5 to 8 years of working experience at Rocket Internet, Foodora, or one of the strategy consultants, because we know that we need to execute with lightning speed. And we need to do this to contribute to our vision for the city of the future, where there will only be place for public transport complemented with sustainable shared transportation. And what we would like to ask you is if you guys could connect us with different municipalities within Europe. Thank you very much.
Here.
Do you need to dock the scooters somewhere, or can you leave them anywhere?
No, you can leave them anywhere where you are legally allowed to park your own bike or your own gasoline scooter.
In which cities you are operating already?
Currently we're operating in Amsterdam with 108 electric scooters and in Rotterdam with 324 electric scooters. And 2 days ago we announced that we're going to go live in The Hague with 200 electric scooters.
So because this is quite a huge and new ecosystem for all around the globe, I'm more interested, is anybody doing self-driving scooters right now?
No, not yet. No.
There's many similar companies offering similar service. What makes you unique? Why you will be the one that makes it?
Yeah, so I think the question should be answered in twofold. On the one side, there are 3 large competitors which do exactly the same as we do with electric mopeds. That's one in Berlin, one in Paris, and one in Barcelona. The difference with us and them is that we have a slightly more scalable setup, so we're able to execute a little bit more quickly due to the team and due to the experience of the team. And the other side is that we have we think we can get a competitive edge in terms of the back-end system and the IT possibilities. Things like dynamic pricing and offering people 3 minutes if they park the scooter somewhere where we know from the historical data that the scooter is picked up quickly by a new customer. So that's the difference. The other one is that there are also like Bird and Lime Bike that are kick steps, so they're like a little bit different kind of vehicle. And we see that the kick steps are being used for the like 1 to 2 kilometer rides, so to an OV hub, where shared electric mopeds are being used to do a door-to-door solution for a little bit longer distances.
So you've rolled out successfully to 3 cities in the Netherlands, or the third one is going to be successful, hopefully.
Yeah.
What European cities are you targeting first? Your call-out was quite broad, and municipality.
Yeah, so in terms of the competitive landscape, it's quite sensitive information.
Okay.
So we get the green light of 8 international cities outside of the Netherlands. But of course, our services can be provided to many more cities. So I cannot disclose it like here, but I can really speak about it on a one-to-one.
How much you have raised already money, because you need to invest quite a lot at the beginning? Yeah.
So we raised in total, which is disclosed, around 7 million. But then a little while back, we closed another round for the international rollout of the scooters, and that's a very big round. And then we also, which is also undisclosed, at the working capital. So we funded the electric scooters, which is asset financing. We did it with debt financing, and then we also need working capital to pay the salaries and do the IT development. And we raised that as well, but we haven't disclosed that yet.
Yeah. How do you see the collaboration with other parties who provide mobility as a service? Because as a user, I'm not interested in having 6 or 7 apps for a moped or a scooter or an electric car. How do you see these integrated solutions?
Yeah, I think you make a very fair point, and that's exactly how we see it as well. If we look at the city of the future, we think there's going to be one mass platform, so mobility as a service. So everybody has one app, and you can use all kind of mobility services there, and you pay a fixed fee for it. The question will be which is going to be the biggest one, whether it be Google Maps, for example, or Citymap, or WIM here in Finland. So what we do is we've built the back end of our system with all different kind of APIs, so that we can be connected to all kind of different aggregators, or we can include different kind of vehicle modalities to our platform. So in the future we could also do like bikes, e-bikes, e-kick steps, cars, or drones, or whatever is out there by then. And I think it takes a little bit more time to see where the market is going to consolidate to, and then we'll see to which platform we're gonna, or we're gonna be self the platform ourselves, or we're gonna connect to one of the platforms.
Thank you, Felix. And very big thanks for all of our startups, very brave startups that share their ideas and dreams. And now I would like to give a special thanks to our judges and panelists. If you could come here at the front. Yes. Here we are. Thank you. Here we are. Here we are.
I'll take yours.
Here we are. Here we are. Up will be home delivery. Here we are.
Thanks a lot.
One more big applause to our panelists and judges. You may be seated. Now, as promised, we have plenty of time for free networking and asking those final questions from our startups. We have time until 10 to 11 when we start telling who the top 3 will be. But for that, I will need the audience's help, and for this especially, the application will be very important because you get to vote your favorite top 3. So make sure you ask those necessary important questions from your startup, make those next contacts, enjoy some coffee and tea, and see you back at 10 to 11.